nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
Hello, everybody. You know what day it is. It's time for the news. But first, we have a new sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Dr. Pepper Zero. None of the sugar, but all of that great taste you expect from Dr. Pepper. And by my iPhone. Because without my iPhone, I can't do things like, "Hey Siri, what's the temperature?"
It's 50 degrees right now.
Thank you, Siri.
My pleasure.
There you go. So, let's get to the news. And right off, just from my paper laying there, I see there's actually something worthwhile on the front page, but let's start at the top of the page. Today's Reader of the Week is going to be Tony DeGaulle, and we'll find out why later on. But over here, we considered them friends. Judy Sinclair retires after 51 years at the YMCA. The celebrations can be held June 9. I think, let's say 51 years. That might be pretty close to when the YMCA was founded down there. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's a long time to devote to something. PRC secures funding from Senator Casey for park improvements. Philipsburg Revitalization Corporation got $147,000 to improve their park. Okay. Going to develop community green space with improved sidewalks, outdoor seating and dining areas, overhead lighting and landscaping to screen off adjacent parking lots. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a highway going by right in front of it. Psych! Rush Township supervisors change public meeting date regarding solar ordinance. Really don't care. I'm tired of hearing about the damn people arguing about solar energy. Oh, wow. I think the Journal may be watching my show. And I think they know that what we love is all the news from those Morris people. Morrisdale, Morris Township, they're always entertaining. Look at this. We have Morris Township Recap. They are now starting a front page thing that's all about Morris Township because they know that's what the viewers want. Do you have a constitutional right to live in your camper? Township will take your household rubbish for a limited time only. A guy walks into the meeting room carrying a TV set. Shirley is mad at Mark. And Goose Lane house built in the wrong spot. That's all like the subheadings of the Morris Township thing. I'm going to get to that, but let's first move over right next to it there where that picture is. You see there, OM Bridge renamed for fallen Vietnam soldier. I can tell you without even reading it. Well, of course, it's in big green there, but that's for Michael Sagich, who was killed by friendly fire in Vietnam. Now, for those of you who haven't heard of Vietnam, that is a war that we fought over 50 years ago. And as far as dedicating a bridge to Lance Corporal Michael Sagich, who I think was about 5 years ahead of me in school, I say, and forgive me for putting it this way, but what the fuck took so long? 50 years to recognize a fallen soldier? So the bridge, by the way, those of you who know town, this is the, we got two bridges in town. This would be the big one down there heading towards Newtown with the big old arches on it that as kids we used to like to walk up over and you'd feel real brave. The bridge was dedicated last week. That was last Friday, actually. I actually was hoping I'd be able to get over there and film it live, but it didn't work out. Saget's family joined Representatives Dallas Kephart and Scott Conklin in dedicating the bridge, which was authorized through Act 17 of 2023. I like Scott Conklin. Dallas Kephart, not so much. Let's see, the sign placed on Curtin Street today will help us all reflect on this young man from Stumptown served his nation with honor, tenacity, and leadership, Conklin said. He was a Lance Corporal in the U.S. Marines, enlisted in 1969. The sign that'll be going up down there. There's a new book about Houtzdale's history by Rusty Christoph, Frank Harchak, and Larry Kukowski. And it's called Houtzdale, My Hometown and Yours. And it took 3 people to write a book about Houtzdale's history. I'm thinking that could only be like, 10, 12 pages? Let's go back over here to the Morse recap. Let's see, it's in the Constitution. The code enforcement officer reported he cited a dweller on Mouse Lane in Munson for living in his camper, which the township prohibits. The man claimed it's his constitutional right to live in his camper. Let's see if this one makes it to the Supreme Court, they say. There are people living in shacks around here just because it's called a house. Is it any worse than this guy's camper? Come on, Morris Township. I mean, now, of course, I don't know, but if the guy's, if he's got like proper sewage and stuff like that, what do you care? They're a dumpster for household items. I assume that must be the thing where they said they'll take your garbage away for a short period of time. That's going to be continued on page 3. Doesn't look like a whole lot on page 2, except we have a picture of somebody hugging that Judy Sinclair on her last day of work. And Philipsburg Elementary School held a 4th annual mini-thon. Looks like they raised about $3,700 for something. Fundraising. I don't see where the money's going. I've told you before, Journal. I got a very short attention span. If you want me to know what's in here, put it up front. I'm not reading the damn articles. Let's go back to Morris. Where should I put this TV? During the meeting, a resident walked in carrying what appeared to be a very heavy tube-style TV. He wanted to know where he could put it. See above. Well, I guess the see above would be the big dumpster they're bringing in for household items. Offensive fence. Now, this is the way this sub-headline is. O-fence-IVE fence. Offensive fence. Shirley Josephic, who lives on Old Poet Turnpike Line, complained about what she referred to as a nuisance fence that her neighbor Mark Maney built between their 2 houses. Josephic believes the fence, which she says is very disrespectful, violates the county fence rule. There's a county fence rule, people. And has resulted in a $10,000 reduction in value to her property. Now, why do they not have a picture of this offensive fence? Where the cameras Maney placed on his house that she says point in the direction of her home are prohibiting her from going outside in her pajamas. His cameras are prohibiting her from going outside in her pajamas. People, remember, we're talking Morris Township here. And Let's see. This is that Josephic lady. Shirley Josephic says her neighbor has cameras that prohibited her from going outside in her pajamas. Now, I may be old-fashioned, but I would think common decency keeps you from going outside in your pajamas. And if you think there's nothing wrong with going outside in your pajamas, then you shouldn't give a crap about the neighbor's camera catching you going outside in your pajamas. So let's get back to fence. He constructed the fence 3 feet inside his property line, effectively leaving the tree roots on her side of the fence, but still in his own yard. Josephic says she's an old woman and cannot clean up all the leaves, especially as she's out there walking around in her pajamas. Roots are now surfacing on Josephic's property, she says. Her lawyer advised her to just cut the roots out. Josephic reported she is preparing to dig out the roots. Now, I forget for sure what Mrs. Josephic's first name is, but from now on, let's just call her Karen. If anything happens to those trees, it's not my responsibility, Josephic said. Josephic noted that she was once forced by a magistrate judge to build her own fence up against her other neighbor's fence after she sprayed grass clippings on the other neighbor's fence. That's my best attempt at an old Karen voice. The supervisors responded that Maney's fence does not violate any township ordinance, but promised to inspect the two properties to make sure everything was up to code. Thomas Hoover. I had a science teacher by the name of Tom Hoover. The owner of a home under construction at 26 Goose Lane applied for a setbacks variance for his front porch. All new structures must be set back 30 feet from the road. And apparently he's trying to build it closer. I'm going to guess that is not the same Tom Hoover that I had in school, because that would make him about, 130 years old. And why would a 130-year-old man be building a new house? We have the obituaries. We have a Robert France Sr. who was born in 1941. He is shown here wearing what I believe is a USMC uniform. He was from Hawk Run, died at his residence, it says. Veteran of the Vietnam War. And he's a member of St. Lawrence Episcopal Church in Osceola. So if you know Robert France. We have a Thomas McGlynn, born in 1939, of Houtsdale. He served in the U.S. Army Reserves. And we have an Ann M. Sunman, born in 1933, from Sandy Ridge. So if any of those names sound familiar to you, you can find their obituaries online and you can see who their family is and where you want to send your condolences and so forth. Police report. Okay. If there's no police report on Morris Township, Morrisdale today, I think we'll give them a pass because the Journal is so happily giving us a full Morris Township report. And again, I want to thank you, Journal. You've been tuning in. You've heard what the viewers want. We want more Morris news because that's where the action is. Anyway, police report. We've got a unfounded thievery. 34-year-old West Decatur woman reported that someone thieved $750 from her bank account. Following an investigation, the incident was determined to be unfounded. Not so good at the intersection of Good Street and Centennial in Houtsdale. 78-year-old Barbara Schrock failed to yield the right-of-way to traffic at a stop sign. She proceeded through the stop sign and hit a motorcycle ridden by Clarence Fultz. Fultz sustained an injury to his right hand and foot. I am not going to make any guesses about 78-year-old Barbara Schrock. WRX'd. John Rusciola of Huttsville was traveling southbound, while Michael Johnson of Clearfield was traveling northbound. This is already sounding like it could be a problem. Rusciola attempted to execute. Tried to execute him. Let us read on. He attempted to execute a left-hand turn into Fuel-On, but failed to yield to Johnson. It seems like this is a week for people who fail to yield. Rusciola's Subaru WRX came to its final rest in the Fuel-On parking lot. Johnson parked his Ford F-250 in the parking lot, then waited PSP arrival. No injuries were reported. As a result of the crash, the Subaru was disabled. There's a local history slam going to be held Thursday, May 16th. At the Bellefonte train station. And he's going to talk about Black Shannon. If you want to go to Bellefonte and hear about Black Shannon, go for it. We've got the local sports, and once again, we ain't interested in the local sports until Toby gets old enough to be in the paper. Let's see, YMCA of Center County has an anti-hunger program. Summer meals. They've been doing that every year for a while, where people can go to various places and get a free lunch. It's says the program will start in June, is open to kids 18 and under. I think that's a good thing. I can remember when they first started a program like that at the local Methodist church. And I remember a lady coming in the library, and she said, "Oh, did you see they're doing that there?" She goes, "Nobody around here needs that sort of thing." People are oblivious. There's a lot of kids around here who are not getting good meals. So this is a good thing. They've been doing this for a lot of years now. Let's see, somebody donated cleaning services to spruce up the beloved Simler house. Morrisdale nurse educator was recognized during National Nurses Week. So here you go. Just to bounce it out, we got some good news out of Morrisdale. Ashley Clark. She was recognized for, she's a nurse educator, it looks like at Penn State. And National Nurses Week recognized her. I guess they said, "There's Ashley." 45 bird doggers. Oh, I see. 45 bird doggers attended Bird Dog Handlers Clinic by the Ruffed Grouse Society at Lion Country Supply. Okay. See, I think they do this just to make a liar out of me, because I've often said you cannot learn anything from the Philipsburg Journal that pretends to be a newspaper. But right here, I had no idea that these people called themselves bird doggers, or that there was a Ruffed Grouse Society. By the way, here's your little learning thing for today. The ruffed grouse is Pennsylvania's official bird. And I'll give you another little tip about the ruffed grouse. If you're walking through the woods and one of them jumps out of the brush within 10 feet of you, it will scare the poop out of you. Presented by the Ruffed Grouse Society. Okay. And I guess they learned to dog their birds or something. Huttsville American Legion donates to the Moshannon Valley Little League. Bill Hawkins, not to be confused with my friend Bill Harkins, the local dentist, third generation. Bill Hawkins, the treasurer of the American Legion, presents a donation to Brett Passmore, president of Sheldon Valley Little League. They don't say how much the check was for. Philipsburg Elementary Students of the Month. Need I say, Toby doesn't go to the Philipsburg Elementary, so who cares? The Shannon Valley Little League celebrates the completion of a project funded by Clearfield County. Okay. There's a picture of a bunch of people too small to recognize. Since there's a picture, I'll tell you that Olivia Bitzari pitched a 9-1 win over Huntington. Sandy Ridge Sportsman Club Tuesday night trap league scores. The highest score out of 50 targets, Jim Billy. And there's a bunch of other people. 50 out of 50. I don't know a whole lot about trap shooting, but I'm thinking that might be a pretty good score. I don't know a whole lot about trap shooting. I was never a trapper, but I have seen traps. And, you know, you take them and you like pull them open like that, and there's like a latch that holds them. And then like a raccoon or a bear or an unsuspecting toddler comes along, sticks their foot in there, and the trap goes like that. But the thing is, they're just laying there. How hard are they to shoot? So, okay, that guy got a 50 out of 50. Let's go look at this again. Tell me this, Steve Cower. You got a 48. How the hell did you miss two of those things? They're laying right there on the ground. Come Sportsman Club. Okay, we got our memory lane, and we've got a picture of a horse. John Mills' horse is shown hitched to Hoffer's novelty store around 1890. There's a picture of the horse. And look over there, and next to that, we're going to see our Reader of the Week, Tony DeGaulle. And what do we want to know about Tony? What's your claim to fame? I trust in God, and I know everything's going to work out. What's something surprising most people don't know about you? I don't have a whole lot of patience. What do you love about Philipsburg? I love the beautiful architecture. I don't know Tony. He looks like a perfectly nice guy. You know, I mean, if perhaps a little nerdy. But I don't think he's traveled a whole lot if he just focuses on Philipsburg architecture. This is something people might not know. My maternal grandfather immigrated from Italy. When I drive through Philipsburg, I think of my grandfather. So it sounds like he does not live in Philipsburg, but he's their favorite reader. Up above it says he's the Director of Communications for the Catholic Diocese of Altoona, Johnstown, and host of Proclaim TV. I guess that's why he made sure to say trust in God. What is your life motto? Those who exalt themselves will be humbled. Those who humble themselves will be exalted. Okay. Here's my question to you, Journal. Why have I never been the Reader of the Week? I obviously read this rag every week. I'm promoting you out there to the entire world. This broadcast is going out internationally. And by the way, this broadcast is sponsored by that was our old sponsor. This is sponsored by Dr. Pepper Zero. None of the sugar, but all of the flavor from the Dr. Pepper you love. Thank you. And that'll be this week's news. Or what passes for news from the Philipsburg Journal. We'll see you next week with More from Morrisdale, I'm sure. Peace out.